Morning guys, Kristen here. I promised you a reading of Lycan, so I'm going to be reading the first 2 chapters this morning. I was going to do a live reading, but with kids running around and the fact that I get tongue-tied every now and then, there will be a lot of mistakes made, more than likely. So this way I can try to get it without any mistakes. Might be a few still, but just bear with me and we'll get through this. So here we go. Lycan by Kristen Blanton, Chapter 1. Humans think that werewolves, werecats, and magic are nothing but myths, but they are as real as the air you breathe. They just go by a different name. Therianthropes in general, lycanthrope for werewolves, and alloranthrope for werecats. Most never make contact with the human world, knowing that it's much safer with their packs. The Therans in West Texas were no different. Their alphas, who were born and raised in the jungles of South America, made sure no humans could accidentally step into their world by constructing a 50-foot fence topped with razor wire around their 300-acre plot of land, a place they'd moved to over 100 years before. Legacy didn't know the exact reason for that move, but it didn't pertain to her job, so she didn't focus on it too much. But as she sat in the courtyard of her building, eating lunch with her mother and sister, her animal sides couldn't help but long for the real jungle that was so poorly advertised around her. She was the daughter of the lead alpha, the main leader, and a princess to her people, although that title was a bit ironic, since she was far from the purity that a princess should be. No, Legacy, so lead charge, was a mutt, a freak of nature, even for her people. She was half wolf and half jaguar. No one knew how two Therian species could have fallen in love, or even successfully mate, resulting in children. But Legacy, her brother Peden, and her sister Rochelle were living proof. Legacy, you know that you must choose a mate before your 21st birthday, or your father and I will have to choose for you. She sighed wearily. This was not the first time this conversation had come up, especially in the last year. Yes, I know, Mama, but I'm still only 19. I have a year to find one. Right now, my work is just too important. You know there have been reports of a rogue Therian in the town down the road, and we cannot risk exposure. Besides, I don't feel like mating so early in life. Can't I be an exception, just like you and Daddy were? Rochelle laughed, a sound like wind through chimes. Cece, don't lie to Mama. You know you've been going to the bar in town, so of course you're not going to find a mate, not among the humans. She looked over to her mother. Maybe for her birthday, you should throw a Valentine's ball and have all the bachelors invited. She rubbed her bulging, pregnant belly. Legacy snorted. Yeah, right. I don't want a suitor's ball. A giggle trilled from Jimina. It won't be anything like that. I promise, sweetheart. I'll invite your friends, even that trollop, Delphi. She held her hand up as Legacy was about to defend her friend. Her actions don't lie. Now, that gives me 2 weeks to plan, and I assure you that I will have it planned, and you will attend, or your father and I will have your mate picked come leap day. Am I understood? Yes, Mama. Just promise that you and Daddy won't be there. Rochelle smiled. How about me? Can I come? I would like to see who my baby sister chooses. Legacy nodded begrudgingly. Good. I'll start preparing. Jimina left them in the courtyard to their own devices. How did you choose, Ro? Legacy asked nervously. What do you mean? She shrugged. I mean, how did you choose a wolf? Oh, Rochelle complied. I don't know. I just knew it would be Laird. I knew I loved him from the moment I met him. She sighed dreamily. Besides, my wolf side is more dominant. I'm sure the same goes for Peden and his jaguar side. She looked at her sister curiously. Why? Legacy blushed. I don't know. Which of my animal sides is more dominant? Is that weird? How do I choose a mate if my body can't choose a side? Her sister's golden eyes showed clouded worry. I don't know, little sister, but maybe you should speak to Mama about this. No, I'll wait till after the party. Maybe it'll fix itself. She looked at the worry etched on Rochelle's face. Please don't tell Mama. I won't, Cece. I promise. Just promise me that you'll talk to her if it doesn't, or if it presents a problem. I will. I promise. Chapter 2. The 2 weeks before her birthday flew by too fast for Legacy. By 9 that night, she was shaking in her skin. Her animal sides were always eager to present themselves when she was nervous. Far be it for the overseer to not like parties, especially ones centered around her and the fact that she had yet to choose a mate. Oh my gosh, Cece, I'm so sorry I'm late. Little Regan had me sick, Rochelle proclaimed, upon rushing in. Legacy waved it off. It's fine. I'm nervous anyways. Don't be. I'll be there, and your friend Delphi is waiting at the bottom of the stairs for you. Her face lit up. Delphi's here? I can't believe Mama actually invited her. Michelle nodded as she pushed her to sit at the vanity so she could braid Legacy's hair in the traditional plait for single Therian females who were ready to choose their mate. You'll surely find the one you want tonight. She turned to look at her sister's choice of wardrobe, but saw nothing laid out. Where are your clothes? Legacy looked at her in the mirror. I was going to wear this. She motioned to her jeans and shirt. Rochelle balked. You can't wear that. Who will find you attractive in that? Someone who likes me for me? Legacy guessed. Rochelle laughed. Yeah, right. She saw her sister's shock. Sorry, but no one will want to talk to you if you dress like you do for work. They all came dressed for a ball, so you best do so also. Help me pick something then. Nothing too sexy or revealing, she said to appease her. Like you don't wear stuff like that to the human bars, she responded as she walked into Legacy's closet to search for something appropriate. She came back with a knee-length black dress that draped over her shoulders. This will do just fine, along with these strappy silver heels. Legacy sighed. Oh, fine, we'll do it all your way. Good, 'cause there is no other way. They both laughed and joked around until Legacy was dressed and waiting to be judged. Wow, Cece, I forgot how gorgeous you are. You wear too many boy clothes around here. Legacy scowled, anger burning in her gold eyes. I'm as solid as Rochelle. I cannot afford to be in a dress and heels all the time in case I've been called on an urgent mission. Her sister nodded in understanding. But I can assure you that you won't have one tonight. Father has made sure of it. Laird is subbing in for you till tomorrow morning. Shaking her head, she did a twist in front of the mirror and watched the dress dance around her knees. Do you think I'll find him tonight? Rochelle stepped forward and kissed her cheek. I pray you do, sister. I pray you do. She looped their arms together. Now, come on. Your guests are waiting. They descended the stairs together with everyone in the room watching. The entire bottom floor of her building was covered with birthday and Valentine's decorations, along with every young Therian taking up all the available floor space. I thought Mama was going to keep this simple, Legacy whispered. Rochelle laughed. This is simple for her. Now, aren't you glad that I made you change? Legacy nodded in answer. When they came to a stop at the bottom of the stairs, Delphi ran up to her, full of excitement. OMG, you look gorgeous! Legacy blushed. That's what Rochelle said. Well, she was telling the truth, Delphi whispered as she pulled her away from Rochelle and into the crowd of young Therians. Do you see all this gorgeous Therian ass? Yes, Legacy almost whispered. Delphi stopped. Are you okay, Cece? This is a suitor's party to help me choose a mate. Mama planned it. Are you serious? No way! I'm so glad my parents aren't pressing me to mate. Legacy nodded at her blonde friend. Yes, Vi, but I told her it was okay. Otherwise, they'd choose for me. But I'm nervous as hell. Delphi smiled. I bet you are. Hell, I might find mine here tonight, too. A young, dark-haired jaguar walked past and winked at her. Ugh, it better not be him. They both laughed and walked over to the refreshment table. So, is Rochelle your chaperone tonight, or are you allowed to cut loose? No, not really. I told her she could come in place of my parents, but you know how I feel about being around a crowd of people. You mean your own people, because I've seen you in the bars. Don't forget who introduced you to the human world. Legacy smiled. Yes, I know, but I have to keep up appearances here. Yeah, I know. Legacy sighed and looked around the room, hoping that someone would catch the eye of one of her sides. She caught sight of a dark-skinned male and blushed. Delphi looked up as she sighed dreamily. Who is that, Vi? She looked at her friend, blue eyes wide with shock. How do you not know Kragan Malov? He's on the council with your father. He's 23, 6'9", and one of the hottest Lycans my feline eyes have ever seen. Legacy shook her head. I've never met all the council members. My father won't let me. He says I'm too young and don't need to be introduced in politics. That being overseer is good enough, since I shouldn't even be doing that. I still cannot believe that you don't know who he is. I know who he is, and I'm an ailuran. Legacy laughed. Yes, but you know who every male is, even the old and mated ones. They both laughed. True, I do. Excuse me, a small, lilting voice said. Legacy was taken aback as she looked up at the female version of the man they had been speaking of. Oh, sorry, she said, stepping aside so she could get a drink. She turned back to Delphi, who, still slightly shocked, but thinking the girl had left, she began talking again. So who are you interested in? Delphi giggled. Why not? She sighed dreamily. You should speak to Kragan. He would make your father proud. Are you talking about my brother? Legacy almost jumped out of her skin. With a hiss, she spun around. Don't do that. The girl, who was obviously Kragan's sister, shrank back from her. Sorry, I just heard you mention Kragan. Are you interested? He's single. Besides, he could stand to have a little feminine contact. He's quite temperamental at the moment. Would you like me to introduce you to him? She took a breath. My name's Keist, by the way. She shook her hand quickly. Come on, he's over here with Grinja. Caught completely off guard by the overexcited girl, Legacy allowed her to drag her across the room. Oh my gosh, Grinja? Delphi squealed. As in Grinja Gray, the beta alphanthrope leader? Ailuranthrope leader? Keist laughed. Her laugh as lilting as her voice. Yes, the one and only. He and my brother are doing business at this splendid party, no less. If only the hostess knew, I'm sure she'd be peeved. Legacy and Delphi laughed. I assure you, I'm not. It's fine. They protect us, so they can do business wherever they please. Keist stopped dead in her tracks. Oh, I'm so sorry, Your Highness, she said, bowing. Again, the two friends giggled. It's all right, Keist. You didn't know who I was. She touched the girl's shoulder. And don't call me Highness. My name is Legacy. Keist looked up, blushing. Again, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Delphi was clutching her sides. She was laughing so hard. You should see her face. She draped her arm over Keist's shoulders. She's normal, just like you and me. Besides that, she's our best Solidus. Keith's green eyes grew larger. Your father lets you hunt? Yes. Keist, are you okay? A deep baritone voice interrupted them. Legacy looked up to see Kragan and another man step into their circle. Oh, Lady Charge, forgive me, Kragan said with a bow. Legacy sighed in frustration. I need to make it a law that people cannot bow to me, she said to Delphi. If one more person bows to me, I'm seriously going to talk to my father about making that a law. The other man stepped forward. Forgive us. My name is Grinja Gray, and this here is Kragan Malov, he said curtly, kissing the knuckles on her right hand. Keist was blushing furiously. I was bringing her over to meet you, Kragan. Legacy blushed too. I heard you were here, and I knew you worked with my father, she lied, so I wanted to meet you. A slight frown darkened his green eyes. Well, nice to meet you, Lady Charge. It's Legacy. I'm sorry? My name. It's Legacy. Don't call me Lady Charge. That's my mother. I'm not that old, she finished with an uncharacteristic giggle. Delphi inclined her head, hand out. I'm Delphi Credit, her best friend. Legacy laughed at her forwardness. We didn't interrupt anything important, did we? Oh no, not at all. We were just finishing up, Grinja answered, while Kragan stared at her. Legacy blushed again. Since when did she become so skittish, she wondered. So what brings you to my party? No one declines an invite from your mother, Kragan answered honestly. I wasn't aware that your birthday was on Valentine's Day, my lady. Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, but today is a day of romance. He took the hand she had just used to push a strand of hair behind her ear into his and traced the lines of her paw print tattoo. Wolf? Legacy nodded and showed him her right wrist that held a tattoo of a jaguar paw. My two halves. He smiled devishly at her. And which is more dominant, might I ask? Legacy felt her cheeks and ears redden more. I'm not sure. She needed to get away from this conversation. Her Etherean sides were pulling her in two different directions. Legacy looked up at the two men who looked like they wanted to eat her alive. If you'll excuse me, I need to speak to my sister. She nodded herself out of the conversation. And Delphi followed her curiously. Legacy, what's wrong? Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, Fi. I just need to speak to Rochelle. Do you see her? Delphi stopped and searched the room for her. I think she's by the terrace. It looks like she's talking to Spring. Do you want me to come with you? She shook her head. No, I'll be fine. You go have fun. I'll be back soon. Okay, I'll hold you to that, she replied nervously. Legacy made her way over to her sister and sister-in-law. Rochelle, can I speak with you? Sure, sweetie, what is it? She dismissed herself from their conversation and walked out onto the terrace with Legacy. I can't do this party. She furrowed her brows. I don't understand. It looked like things were going well between you and Kragan over there. They were, Legacy nodded, but then Grin just started speaking, and my sides started going crazy. Rochelle inclined her head. I don't know what to say. It was never this hard for me. Were you attracted to both? Yes, and it was killing me inside. How do I choose when my sides want to rip each other a new one? You need to speak to Mama. She'll know what to do. Legacy sighed in defeat. What about this party? Stay for another hour and then excuse yourself. I'd suggest keeping away from those two. I'll see to it everyone goes home fine. She kissed her cheek. Thank you, Ro. I'm going to go find Delphi and hang out for a while. Alright guys, so let me know in the comments what you think, and hopefully it's interesting enough for you to buy your own copy. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.